because they won't go to jail.
Yeah. But also, what else?
It's unethical to society.
When he says that I did it for other children, but what does it mean? And that I can do it also for my son. Do you see any unfairness here?
Yes.
Why? What is unfairness?
Against people they are lawful. Against people they are...
Not only that, I did it for other people's children, so I did it for my own child too.
Not for all.
Not for everyone.
Not for all. Has been for all the people who are caught. For some, for the ones who caught the foul and they have the connections. For the rest,
No.
the rest went to jail, right? But for some of those,
How can you serve?
whatever. But you see the unfairness here. Because this guy says here, it's not about a matter of honesty, it's a matter of unfairness. Because if you go and say, okay, go to the boss and say, we put it on the company because we were late hours. And there are other people who work late hours, but they don't put it. They put it, it's unfair. They are not paid by the company, right? So you have to think also of the fairness of the situation. Let's see, there are a couple of more and we'll have a break. Okay.
In a public restaurant, you overhear colleagues discussing confidential client information and mention the client by name. Would you A, ignore it, B, talk with your colleagues about your concerns and leave it at that, or C, report them to your supervisor? This is tricky.
Yes, it is.
I think the problem is that
You understand? Yeah. You are in a restaurant and you overhear colleagues discussing confidential client information and mention the client by name. Would you ignore it? Would you talk with your colleagues about your concerns and leave it at that? Or will you report them to your supervisor? A, B, or C?
A. A.
A. Why say you A? Ignore it.
Because you take part in that. I mean, it's unethical to discuss confidential. If you report it, means you're listening what they're saying. So
no, but you overheard. You overheard.
Yeah.
You happen to be passing by there, and you overheard.
If those colleagues or managers, you ignore it.
Why?
Because you're below them, so...
So what?
Look, it's either A or B, it's not C.
Anybody else to say A?
I say it.
You say A?
Yes.
Yes, why?
Because most probably you won't get anything out of it. Because it depends on how much honesty and what the relationship you have with your supervisor, because you cannot prove what will actually happen. So you will just get into greater conflict rather than gaining something out of it.
So ignore it. Okay.
Well, I find a little bit of contradiction, like ethics and legal regulations, because let's say this company is a regulated company, like a public company, or regulated investment company. So by law, you should have to report this to your supervisor, but ethically wise, you have to choose B. So I find it very difficult to answer these questions. Ethic-wise it's B, but regulation-wise it depends on, I mean, you have to disclose the information if it's like insider dealing or anything.
Disclose what information?
Well, it depends what they're talking about, I mean, the client.
You hear some colleagues talking in a restaurant about a client by name. Okay. Confidential information. What do you do? There is no law, there is law which says you have to disclose it. There is no such law. It's a case, it's an ethical matter. So what do we do?
Yeah, but it should be like client rating some securities. And I mean, it could be like insider dealing, some timing or anything.
Okay, well, it does, it has it's insider trading and so on.
But it client's information, so it could be anything. This client, I'm kind of applying this.
Okay, let's see, yeah, okay. So you go for C.
No, I mean, ethic-wise it's B, but that's why I don't know what to answer. But legal-wise, if it's public company, then it's C.
No, but it's my colleague. I said to my colleague it's confidential. I don't want to speak in a restaurant about that.
No, I speak. They speak.
Yes,
and you overhear what they're speaking. What do? You pass and you ignore it, or you talk to them and say that, guys, this is not what we're talking about, line information.
I don't need to ignore it. And then the next day you have to tell it.
In this case, I would go with your name.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would go with in the case. If I ignore it, it's like I allow it to happen a second time. And this is confidential information. So I have to prevent it from happening a second time.
But I will let them know after I live there, when I meet them at the, you know,
Even there, I think that you should advise them to stop right there. That this information, guys, is probably you forgot about it, but this information is confidential. So, and then what would you do if they continue? So it's B. What would do if next day you call them again doing the same thing? What do you do? Then you go to C. Then you go.
No, I thought you mean to discuss it with other colleagues, not the actual ones.
No, the ones that actually.
Okay, that's
Okay, let's see.
It's already happened, it's out there.
Yeah.
You can't correct it. I don't want to go to the boss because I don't
But
want to
can
tell
you prevent
them.
future occurrences if these folks were to
I
have
would
such
talk
a...
to them.
That's right. Talk with them and leave it at that. Because if you do nothing, as Edmund Burke said, all that is necessary for evil to flourish is for good people to do nothing. So it allows a problematic situation to continue. And if you blow the whistle, that's probably too harsh a response. Unless your company requires you to inform them, talking with them in most cases will take care of the problem. Just bringing it to their attention is enough to put an end to it.
Are there any?
Do you got it? What he says, if you ignore it, you become part of the problem. In fact, someone said that it is sufficient for good people to remain silent, for evil to flourish. Right? If we say, why I don't want to, it's the Cyprus, I've said in Greek, because we tell it many times, say, as men ευρυπωμένα. Να σε λείψει ο ψυχικό να με σέβει το κρίμα. Δηλαδή, we say that, let's not get involved, we don't want to get into trouble, so just don't say anything. That is like to become part of the problem. On the other hand, if we jump immediately and go to the supervisor, you say, you know what these guys, the other guys in my team, what they are doing in the restaurant, they were talking confidential information about the client. What I am there. I blow the whistle. These people will never work again with me. It will go through all the company that you are a telltale. Okay, so what do? The best thing is to advise them not to continue this. Of course, if they choose to continue and so on, then you have a serious moral obligation not to report it to the supervisor.
But again, if you are ranked lower than them, you don't have the power to go and to...
It's not a matter of power.
It is. In reality, it is. If one of the managers there with your company, you cannot go tell him, look, I heard you talking about this plan.
No, I heard. You can do it in a nice way. If you are a wife.
If you are a junior, you don't have the power.
Well, join us. Many times, my secretary came to me that I said, did something, they tell me very private, may I talk to you? And said to me, you know, this is things you are not supposed to be, you know, remember this. And I say, I appreciate it. She protected me. I don't say go in public and say, you guys, these things you are saying. You find the way, depending on the relationship you have with the team, you have to find the way. You mean, even a secretary is not going to protect the CEO, the chairman of the board, if he says something that she thinks that might get him into trouble? I hope absolutely that my secretary, my assistant will, if we have established such a fear among our employees that they don't dare tell us, even when they think we might be doing something that may get us into trouble, then I think we are failing as managers and as leaders. Yes?
What if it's like what he said in his last sentence, that you're bound by some kind of contract or company law that when you hear somebody talking outside the workplace about a customer, you have to tell them?
If you are bound by a company law, then you are going to do it. But if you are not bound by a company law, you try to advise them first. It depends also, as the lady said in the back, it depends on the case. If it's about insider trading, there is absolutely, you have an obligation, moral, legal, everything. But if it's something like, okay, they thought they could discuss a client, you know, between glasses of wine and so on, beer, and you hear that, say, guys, you know, this is supposed, not supposed to be saying nothing because someone, you guys may get into trouble, or your command get into trouble in a nice way, in a collegial way. Of course, if this continues, then you have again a moral and the legal obligation to report it higher up. Okay? You understand how ethics. I put you into all this introduction in order to understand how ethics works. We are not just jumping the gun and, oh, we are. This is not about religion. This is about how to be more effective as managers, being ethical, being truthful, being honest, and being good colleagues, good managers, good business leaders at the same time. Okay, here the last that is finishing, is asking him if there are any principles. Here are the principles he's going to say.
Basic rules of thumb you would tell people in the workplace, ways of making these decisions without having to consult someone else.
There are 5 basic principles. Do no harm, make things better, respect others, be fair, and be compassionate. And these are principles that apply not just in business, but in every relationship and in every social context. And these are the principles that apply in medicine and law as well. So these are 5 basic rules. And by the way, we put this quiz on the AC360 blog, so viewers can go to that, take the quiz, and there are a couple of other questions too.
But it's out there.
Yes.
You can't correct it.
That's right. Talk with them and leave it at that. Because if you do nothing, as Edmund Burke said, all that is necessary for evil to flourish is for good people to do nothing. So it allows a problematic situation to continue. And if you blow the whistle, that's probably too harsh a response. Unless your company requires you to inform them, talking with them in most cases will take care of the problem. Just bringing it to their attention is enough to put an end to it.
Are there any basic rules of thumb you would tell people in the workplace, ways of making these decisions without having to consult someone else?
There are 5 basic principles. Do no harm, make things better, respect others, be fair, and be compassionate. And these are principles that apply not just in business, but in every relationship and in every social context. And these are the principles that apply in medicine and law as well. So these are 5 basic rules. And by the way, we put this quiz on the AC360 blog, so viewers can go to that, take the quiz, and there are a couple of other questions too.
Bruce, thanks for your help today.
Thanks,
we really
Sherry.
appreciate it.
Okay. One last thing is that the last question asks you, the fact that you have a right to do something, does that make it right? Do you agree? If you have a right to do something, does this make it right?
No.
No.